Howdy gang, this is Jerry, and today I'm going to do a video. I'm actually going to talk about two different drones today, and also wanted to give a kind of an update on my channel a little bit, and maybe even hand out a few apologies because I've been really lacking on producing my videos. Last fall I got 4 different drones in to do reviews, and about the same time as I got those drones I got a new job and blah blah blah, lots of stuff happened, and I basically didn't have any time at all to do any radio control hobbies or anything for about the last 6 months or so. And so there was these 4 different drones that I had received for reviews that really never got sent out, and so that's why I say I want to start with an apology to both to my my guy over at Banggood, because both of these drones here were from Banggood, and then also from my one other shop that did give me a drone to review, and I'm hopefully going to get that one done up here pretty quick. And then the 4th one is going to take me a little bit longer to put together a review for, so that might be still several weeks before that 4th drone, not drone, excuse me, that 4th quad can get a review up for it. But I've got these 2 I'm going to get to also. And then also one other quick thing, just kind of I'm starting to get a little more time. My job is kind of easing off a little bit, so I'm getting some more time to do some reviews. And so I've got these 4 quad reviews that I'm doing. Some of y'all might have seen I did a Granite video. I've got a new car, an Arma Granite, that I'm going to be doing a series of videos on. And then one other thing, I'm just kind of wondering, those of you that watch my videos, if y'all would be interested or not, is I picked up a 3D printer, got into that, and I'm kind of hesitant to get into doing 3D printer videos simply because there's so many really good 3D printer channels out there right now. But I did pick up this printer, and I'm maybe not thinking of doing really, say, a proper review so much as just maybe looking at it from the new guy's perspective. I had had 0 experience with 3D printers. I did spend about a month and a half watching YouTube videos, bought this printer, and since January, I got it for Christmas, and so since the beginning of January, I've been trying to learn how to use this thing. And could be another subject for some videos I could release on. And again, I'm not a 3D printing expert, but maybe I could give some perspective of if there's some guys out there that are thinking about picking up a 3D printer and you're concerned about that learning curve of, oh my gosh, now I've got a 3D printer, what am I going to do with this thing? How can I make it work? Maybe I can give some thoughts on that, but like I said, I'm still not certain if I want to do those videos or not. So if that's something that you want to see, if that's a fence you've been sitting on about the 3D printing world, give me a shout out down in the comments. And if y'all would be in favor of that, maybe I can put together a video or 2 about maybe not specifically a printer review, because there's already a lot of really good reviews on my printer, and I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imaginations, but maybe shoot together some videos about what it's like being the new guy and trying to come up to speed, and maybe I can fill some of the potholes that I found, some of the things that tripped me up. But let me know about that all down in the comments. And now let me get to this twofer of drone quad videos. So what I have here, I've got the JJRC baby Elfi on this side and the Eachine E51 over here. And like I said, I received both of these about the same time, and in some ways on paper they're kind of similar quads, that they are both selfie type drones. They both have this folding arm design, so you can fold them up and put them in your pocket. They both actually come with a real remote, although the remotes are very different. And one other common thing that they both had is I did not like either one of them. Spoilers. So I figured I would lump them all in together. And when I did get these, I did shoot some videos about them and about some of the shortcomings, and then I tried finding ways around their various shortcomings and trying to figure out why I couldn't get them to fly right. In the case of the E51, it was just straight up the shortcomings on it. It had some problems that I couldn't figure out how in any inexpensive way to really make them work, and so I decided that's probably wasn't going to waste any more time on it. The baby Elfie, the first 1 or 2 flights I had, I thought I was having a really good experience with, and then it was it all went downhill. All of a sudden, as I tried to explore deeper into the features, it was like I just repeatedly couldn't get it to work, couldn't get it to work, couldn't get it to work. And it ended up being more frustrating because the first 1 or 2 flights actually it did okay on. And then it went downhill and I couldn't get it to do anything correctly, as were the E51, just straight away it was bad from pretty much the first flight. So let's I'm going to touch base on both of these real quick and make this kind of a quick video. I'm not planning on putting any more flight footage in them in this video because to me it's really not worth it. But I'm going to kind of hit some of the high points and the low points on some of these quads just to kind of explain my position on them. But let's start on the baby Elfie over here. It's a very small folding quad. The propellers are a solid propeller. The baby Elfie's main claim to fame here is the remote, that it has a motion sensor on the remote. And this was really cool that instead of having a 2-stick design, like I said, if I bring this one over here, this remote for the E51, the right stick controls the pitch and yaw of the quad, right? And then the left stick, you have the rudder for right and left, and up and down is for altitude control. These are both altitude hold quadcopters. So on the baby Elfie, the one stick mimics the left stick. So you have rudder control and you have altitude up and down. And for the right stick, it has a motion sensor in it, like a Wii controller or something. If those of you might be familiar with like a Nintendo Wii, it has a motion sensor in it, or like your cell phones. I've seen several other quads that when you control them by your cell phones, you could use the motion sensor in your cell phone. And that seems like such a great idea because now you can fly this guy one-handed. And it mostly works. My kind of muscle memory from flying 2-stick quads kind of gets in the way sometimes. But for the most part, flying it with this remote works pretty well. This remote works on, I think it's got 2 AAAs inside of it. The various buttons control the different functions, cameras, on, off, lights on, off. Takeoff and landing, I think, is from this button back here. So it works very well for, or maybe I shouldn't say very well, but it works decent for a one-handed control. And then the quad itself, when it comes to the camera capabilities, it's all on Wi-Fi. And I do not like these cheap Wi-Fi quads. I have yet to see a single one of them that works right. The only Wi-Fi quad that I have used that works good, that the Wi-Fi works good on, is my Wakira AO drone, and that one the Wi-Fi works great on. It's brilliant. But on these little inexpensive ones, I've not had a single one of these that the Wi-Fi works decent on. And that's where this quad began to fall down, is whenever I turn on the Wi-Fi, it's all of a sudden the quad just freaks out. The altitude hold would stop working, and it would never get more than about an inch off the ground, or it was just weird issues. And it seemed like every flight it had something slightly different that was an oddball behavior. And eventually I just kind of got tired of dealing with it. And like I said, and I was quickly running out of time with my new job. I didn't have a lot of time to play with any of my RCs, and I was getting really frustrated that my very limited amount of time that I did have was spent being frustrated with this drone because it wasn't flying good. And so that's kind of where I left it in the end. The E51, a little bit bigger drone. It has these swing style propellers on it. Still a folding drone, so you could fold it up and put it in your pocket or something. It has a couple of issues. Number one is it's kind of bigger and heavier, and it really didn't have the power for this big, heavier frame. Or maybe it did have the power. I'm not really sure, because one of the issues it has, the big issue that it has, is that these propellers, these swing propellers, they have a lot of flex in them. If you look down from the top, that propeller floats underneath the canopy, and so if you're guessing correctly, it does that in mid-flight. Well, not that it sticks there, but that propeller blade bends up. Anytime you ask the motor to make power, that propeller blade will bend upwards and impact the housing, and this is true for all 4 propellers. And as a matter of fact, here on the front here, you can even see right there, that's the scuff marks from the propeller impacting during flight. And as you can imagine, when the propeller hits the canopy, that propeller slows way down and the drone pretty much falls from the sky. So the only really way around that is to operate it very slowly and gently as you're flying around. And then if you have any breeze, you can't fly it, because you can't fly it slowly and gently in a big breeze. You need to be able to use a lot of pitch to be able to fight a wind, and then the propellers impact the housing again and it falls out of the sky. Also, as with the baby Elfie, the camera there, it is Wi-Fi implementation, so you got all the negatives of that, the very short range, the heavy lag, latency in with the cheap Wi-Fis, all around. Again, this one was just all around not a great experience flying. The remote for this one was actually one of the better remotes for an inexpensive quad that I've used, and so I was kind of sad about how bad the drone flew, because I liked this remote. It opens up really wide, so you can put your largest phone there in the middle to get the Wi-Fi FPV back. Plenty of button controls, feels good in the hand. I actually liked the remote, and this quad has better range as another positive. It has a little bit better range than most of the toy drones out there, but the quad just flies horrible. And even when you do get it to fly right, the camera, again, the camera's pointed straight forward or even a little bit down, you know, which means, okay, you can hover straight overhead and take a picture down, but as any kind of, you know, flying while moving, you can't really fly it with the camera. So, in a nutshell, that's these two quads. I do want to give a thank you to Banggood for supplying me with these two quads, because if I had actually spent money on mine, I'd be extremely disappointed. Oh, I guess the batteries here, real quick, I'll just mention these. They come with this is the battery for the E51. Inside this plastic housing is just a standard battery with a non-standard plug. Snaps into the bottom of the quad pretty simply. Baby Elfie kind of has a similar thing but different battery design, and this one, it looks like it might be something proprietary, but inside the housing it has just a regular little tiny LiPo, 400 milliamp hour, the plug, and even it just has a regular wire on that end. So you could, and I did while I was trying to fly it, use other batteries and just plug them in. I've got other batteries with this same style plug on them. Eachine and JJRC both use that same plug on other batteries. So, and again, that just kind of snaps into the bottom of the quad here. Click. So the batteries, I didn't really have any issue with the batteries themselves, but neither one of these quads were really, overall, were an enjoyable experience, and neither one of these were quads that I'd really feel like recommending to somebody if they came to me and said, hey, I saw this quad, it looks interesting, should I get it? My answer would be no, pass, save your money on these. So, sorry Banggood, I know y'all want me to give good reviews, but to my viewers out there, I just can't on these. Neither one of these did I really like. Okay, so I'm going to sign off on this video, and hopefully I'll be able to get the next couple of videos up here in not too much longer. And go ahead and down in the comments of this video, if you want me to get into anything 3D printing, give me a shout out down there about that too. And until next time, this is Jerry, and I'm signing off. Y'all have fun.